And welcome back. Now, we of course have designed a face up to this point. But what if we wanted to, instead of just doing a face, let's say we want to animate a character. Now, we have seen how to do this with pixel art in Photoshop, which of course was a pretty cool thing. But what we are working here with in Animate is a little different of a beast. Because we are not working at the pixel level, we are using what are called vector graphics. And vector graphics behave slightly differently because they are not necessarily dependent upon pixel size. So what we are going to here to do is we are going to today look at some inspiration that we can then translate into how we can design that for a character. Because sometimes some of us may not have as much of an artistic background that we feel strong about being able to make that character. So what I've done is I've gone to pixabay.com, and there's actually a way to help you look for vector images that might be very beneficial for you if you are not artistically strong, or maybe you are and you just like, hey, I want to have something in a certain theme and I need to get some ideas. So here in this little drop down box, you'll see it says all images. If I click on that, you can see we have different filters. We can do photos, we can do illustrations, or we can do vectors. Now, vectors, of course, are vector images. They're, again, a little different than what we're used to with things like PNGs and JPEGs and that sort of thing, because those are what's known as raster images. So if we search for, let's just say, a ninja in here, and I hit search, you will see it'll bring up everything that is a vector image. And of course I ignore the sponsored ones and I come down here and I want to start looking for things that are vector images. So for example, let's just say I look at this ninja right here and I click on it. You will see it is of course a image that is set up with a transparent background. I can click on the free download option and you will see we still have our standard options for PNG in here. So we could still use this as a PNG. However, you will see that there is a new option available to us, which is SVG. SVG are vector graphics. These are images that work best in programs like Adobe Animate or Adobe Illustrator, which really strive to work with vector images. So we could download this as an SVG graphic and it would behave very well in something like Animate. The reason why you might want something like this is because an SVG, or any kind of vector image really, is not bound by the screen size. So for example, if I were to do this as a PNG and I were to download the smallest one possible because I want to have a smallest image. If you recall, when we worked with pixel art and we started zooming things into different ratios, sometimes we'd have weird artifacts happen. We would have distortion of the pixels, we would have maybe image quality that gets lost. But with an SVG, you don't have that issue. So this is, of course, really beneficial when you're working with something like Animate, because if you have whether you're using a full HD or you're using regular HD or going to full 4K, you will have the same quality image regardless of the size of your canvas. That being said, if you're simply just looking for an inspiration, you're like, I don't really care about how it looks in Animate. I just want to have something that can help me. Remember, you do have the option still for regular PNG that you can look at and be able to use. And one other thing as a closing mark when we are looking at finding something for inspiration, remember it does not have to be a one-to-one match. In fact, a lot of times when you're looking at images, whether you're going through here or you're just searching images online, remember a couple things. First off is remember avoid copyright. If that image is copyrighted, you should not be making a copy of it. It can still serve as an inspiration for you to make your own image, but you should not be making a copy of it. Now, if it's something like Creative Commons, you do have a little bit more flexibility that you could come in and modify it typically from its original form. But let's just go ahead and do one more search just from the top, just to make sure we have a good feel of this. So instead of a ninja, maybe I want to look for something else. How about we look for a pirate? So when I search a pirate, you can see we of course have different images here that also get returned. And so regardless of what image I click on, these all should have the SVG option. So these of course, are just different images that are available. So if I were to take this penguin one here, and I click on free download, you will again see the vector graphic option is available to us, as well as the PNG. But that's going to wrap up what I have for this time. When we come back into our next lesson, we're actually going to take these different pieces here and start using them and looking at them for how we actually create characters that are going to be within an animated environment.